course, Leia forgets about 3PO.
You forget about the gold droid standing in the middle of the room.
Just put a lampshade on his head. Put him in the corner.
Thrawn just walks up and goes like, you didn't have this artwork here last time.
Yeah.
You're right.
Water, earth, fire, air.
Hard.
Long ago, the expanded universe lived in harmony. Then, everything changed when the Mouse Empire attacked. Only a talented creator, skilled in storytelling and world-building consistency, could stop them. But when we all needed them most, Disney reduced their share of the royalties. 12 years have passed, and my co-host and I discovered an old creator, an author named Timothy Zahn. And although his writing skills are great, he needs more lore from George Lucas before he's ready to continue anything. But I believe Zahn is doing just fine. Hello there, and welcome to the Lost Holocron. I'm Firebender Tim, and today I'm joined by the last Airbender, Kyle.
Oh, air.
The second to last Airbender, Stuart.
Hey.
And non-bender, Scott.
Oh.
These cabbages.
I thought it was air. I thought it was also air.
You got to
Scott
watch more of the
definitely
show
loves
first.
Yeah, you get your bending once you finish the show.
Oh,
These are
okay.
cabbage.
Yeah.
100% cabbage savers.
That's why you asked me if I finished the show.
I was seeing it was your last chance to earn it. I was like, he's not changing tonight now. We will be covering the material up to and including Chapter 13 of Dark Force Rising. Scott, what has happened so far?
What has happened so far is I haven't found the file yet to read.
No.
How do you get here? How did you get here?
From my laptop, but I didn't. Story so far, Leia Organa Solo has traveled to the Noghri homeworld of Honoghr with Chewbacca and C-3PO under Khabarakh's oath of protection. Honoghr is a world devastated by the war. Catastrophic collapse of their ecosystem has left them indebted to the subsistence of the Empire, sending their male population to become honor-bound death commandos. The Maitrak of Clan Kim'bar shares with Leia the history of the Noghri people and their relationship with the Empire. Leia hopes to convince the clans to consider aligning with the New Republic, but the terms of their indenture are binding. She agrees that good intentions alone are insufficient to provide the Noghri with the aid they so desperately need. It is at this point that the approaching Imperial ship causes the village to go on high alert. Stuart, what happened in Chapter 13?
Chapter 13, we have TIE Scimitar bombers patrol the skies. An Imperial shuttle closes in on the Duca. Concerned, oh no, not concerned. They are concerned, but they're also cornered. Leia and Chewbacca cram into the meditation room, and Leia uses her Jedi skills to eavesdrop as the Grand Admiral reappears to confront the Maitrak, accusing Khabarakh of perjury. The Grand Admiral claims that he is beholden to a law higher than Noghri law, his Imperial law, and will arrest Khabarakh immediately. When the Matriarch objects, the Grand Admiral orders a show of force that, with her Jedi-enhanced senses, dazzles Leia. As she regains her senses, the Grand Admiral leaves, granting an allowance of public humiliation to Khabarakh for 3 days in the capital of Nystea. This is the first chapter that I don't have any particularly strong notes to write about. So our document is looking pretty bad. It's just Tim. So good work, Tim.
Yeah.
I love the first note there. Leia almost continued Luke's tradition of defacing sacred structures.
Yeah. She was looking at that thing and was like, "Oh, we could probably like cut a hole in it and hide and get out." Like, yeah.
I mean, to be fair, she got the permission first, but
No, she didn't. She was going to do it even without permission. Then she turns around and goes
true.
like, "Oh, this might be insensitive."
She's like, "Wait a minute. Oh, I guess I should ask." But then the Maitrak was like, "Whatever. If you got to do it, you got to do it."
Which I was a little surprised at. That, I mean, what is higher priority is keeping these historically sacred records or not getting bombed to death. I guess that probably makes it clear.
If they'd gotten bombed, those things probably would have been destroyed anyway. But
I mean, he made it very clear that this isn't the first time that he sent shots down from the skies, he is more than willing to drop it. I think she knows that if he finds out that they were planning a rebellion against him, they'll just decimate everything.
Mm-hmm.
I was very shocked. I was laughing
Mm.
when Chewbacca slam dunks 3PO up into a little hole in the ceiling, and then,
without skipping a beat.
And like before the sentence is out of Leia's mouth, he's dunking 3PO. He is digging his scaling the wall to dunk 3PO into a hole, and then I didn't know this was a thing. He just turns 3PO off. I didn't know they had an off switch.
Yeah, it just had an Empire Strikes Back.
Empire.
Yeah.
I completely forgot that. How horrifying.
Right?
Right. I mean, droids are supposed to be like independent, sentient, well, sort of sentient, I guess, beings, right? And they're supposed to have like their own droid rights. And I mean, you can just switch them off if you want to.
I mean, technically you can switch humans off, you just can't turn them back on.
Right. But I mean, that's just
we don't have one of those latching switches, but you could do a soft reset. They just reboot after a couple of hours.
I mean, at any moment their memory can be wiped. I mean, that's what they do with some droids.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've been in some online discussions about what droids mean in Star Wars, and some people are like, well, it's not real, so it doesn't mean anything. And I'm like, no, this is very really a slave allegory, and in in all sci-fi settings they use different aliens to not represent real races, although some do, but they do represent an allegory between different cultural relations between people. And I think it just occurred to me between the last recording that the droids in Star Wars have been a slave allegory since the very, very beginning. They were bartered and sold for in Tatooine, and that's like one of the first interactions that we get is that those kind of like the Jawas are like slave hunters that go out and capture people, enslave them, and then Luke is, I don't want to say the kind slave master that treats his slaves with humility, but
I mean, he kind of is, though.
yeah. Has he given? But like, he also hasn't granted them their freedom, because he does treat them like friends, but they're like pets, almost sentient pets.
Yeah.
I guess the only like free droid that we've ever come across is on screen would be L337.
Yep. That's the only one I can think of.
What about like the bounty hunter droids, like IG-88?
No, they serve the guild.
Oh, okay.
Right, but aren't they well,
I mean,
no, they have their directives.
Okay.
They don't just go out and hunt for money. They actually do it because they're told to or whatever.
There's probably like someone behind them as well who's like, hey, I had enough money to buy an IG droid, and I'm going to have it get all the bounties for me and take the cut, take all the money.
Sponsor.
Yeah.
So it's basically, the droid's basically like their hired hitman or whatever, I guess.
Yeah, like a mercenary.
Yeah.
A mercenary that they own and don't have to pay.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, sure, they would put back into them to like make sure that they're still cutting edge or top of the game or whatever, but just like you would do with a laptop.
Yeah.
But
yeah, L3 is still the only one I can think of.
Yeah. I mean, HK is, well, even then he's
friends with. I mean, he does he makes his own choices. I mean, that's for sure. Like, he was told to stay on the ship, and then he comes in.
Yeah, but he also does recognize somebody as a master. So he's not really emancipated in that way either.
Yeah.
So do you think that like R2 and C-3PO are still under that slave notion, or do you think they're kind of like been like upgraded to like friends or whatever? I don't know how to say it, but
I think C-3PO is still under the kind of programming that he needs to attach himself to a master, and I think like trauma bonding almost, and like internalized racism being a thing that droids go through, and so they themselves believe that they should be subordinate to some being without their own emancipation.
Yeah, no, I can see that.
I mean, there's also like, you know, C-3PO is a protocol droid, and he's probably one of the most top-ranking, people in the galaxy. Like, he has the ultimate sense of purpose for himself right now.
That's probably a good way to frame it. I mean, you know, within the context that we have, because I was thinking that also with the IG units, that they are built for bounty hunting, and if they weren't directed by somebody, they would feel listless. And I guess this is kind of was it John Locke or something said that you couldn't enslave people against their own will, but like they have no other will or purpose in life to give up their or like be considered free beings, because I don't know, even humans that if we aren't following our own purpose, we get really depressed because we're not expressing ourselves in our ways. And like, you know, being a creative, that if I'm not able to create for something, and even if that, but I guess I have more choice about where I go and what I create than droids that are like, you know, I'm a really good translator and I want to translate, but they're always still in that kind of slave position, no matter how high in society they're being, they're fulfilling their internal purposes for.
Yeah, it's a really hard thing to say, because I mean, it does seem many droids have their own thoughts and opinions, but like, not any droid can do anything that it wants. R2D2 can't be a protocol droid. This is not going to happen.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
And I think that, you know, that's the same for people too. Like, we all have our skills of things that we can and can't do.
Right.
You know, it's not like I'd want to go out and be an Olympic swimmer, because one, I don't particularly like the water, and you know, that's not what drives me. I have other aspirations.
Yeah, and then you know, you also get that, and then you get into the argument where it's like, well, yeah, but the difference is droids are built by people.
For specific roles too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hate to get all determinist, but to a degree, humans are also. But you know, it is a more complex.
You and I are going to debate about determinism, Stuart.
With 3 compatibilists? No way.
I feel like Luke treats R2 like a friend or companion, but R2 still has a job to do that Luke really couldn't do without him. And in that way, it's kind of like he's still almost like a tool to Luke too.
I see. Well, I think we don't get a lot of R2s in a monologue, so
True.
Yeah.
I think on a, you know, between R2 and 3PO, 3PO is definitely that internalized slave, but I could see R2 as being a little bit more independent.
Yeah, I can see that too.
Yeah, more like Chewie, almost.
Yeah, in a way.
Independent but loyal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we really open up the can of worms on this right out of the gate.
I know, right?
Yeah. But no, it was an interesting chapter. It was a soul of force. The force. Soul of force. Not the force.
The dark force.
It's
the
rising.
dark force descending.
It's rising.
Cascading, really.
And of course, Leia forgets about 3PO.
Yeah, I thought that was hilarious.
You forget about the gold droid standing in the middle of the room.
Right, I have to hide him too. Oh, man.
Just turn it into a backpack like an Empire.
Right?
Right.
Just put a lampshade on his head. Put him in the corner.
Yeah. That reminds me, that'd be You know the leg lamp from the Christmas movie?
Oh god,
I think like a C-3PO put 3PO leg would be really cool.
Uh-huh.
that would be actually.
Oh yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah.
I imagine if they did put it like a lampshade or something on C-3PO and put him in the corner, and Thrawn just walks up to him and says, "You didn't have this artwork here last time."
Yeah.
You're right. It is the worst decision. He notices our art.
Yeah.
Right. This is horribly ugly. What is this?
Yeah.
I wonder if he would recognize. Well, at this point he's not Vader's creation, but I wonder if he would recognize. I see the future of a young child in this creation.
I was reading an interesting theory how, and this is extremely off topic, but the whole like free will kind of thing made me think of it. It was an interesting theory that in the Clone Wars TV show, Anakin is really kind to droids and he's really kind to clones. And the theory was that he enjoys spending time with those people because it's people that he has power over. And that it was deep down in him. Anyone that he has control over, he enjoyed having in his life.
Yeah.
But not anybody that would challenge him on anything.
That
mean,
tracks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's what he like. If we take the conversation from Attack of the Clones, that he thinks that if people are disagreeing, somebody should just make them agree.
Yeah.
Nice. I think that good decision of characterization there. And it kind of him being a slave in the beginning, he had no control over anything, and he just wants control over everything so that everything can play nice.
Yeah.
In the end, that I think George Lucas did a good job of setting up this character for becoming Darth Vader. I know people complain about young Anakin, but
That poor kid.
Yeah.
It's a tragic story.
It is, yeah.
It's a through line there.
I'm glad that people are coming back around on the prequels.
And
Well, yeah, because the sequels were so bad.
We got to unite against a common enemy.
Right? Wait till they come around to the sequels.
God, what's JJ gonna fuck up next time?
Oh my God.
Bad enough to where the people are gonna like the sequels.
It's just gonna be the apocalypse, and the only films we're gonna get left. So it's like, you know what, guys? But at least we have movies.
Only surviving films are the Star Wars: The Force Awakens and Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker.
I was reading a post on Reddit about why people like those movies, and I gotta hand it to them that like they're arguing like they're not bad movies. These things, do things in a certain way, and like they're not bad movies, but they're not cohesive in the way of saying like this is a trilogy. And I think that's the biggest problem with like like, oh yeah, the Palpatine somehow returns thing is kind of dumb, but if you look at it from Poe's perspective, he does somehow kind of return.
Yeah.
But the problem isn't that is what happens. The problem is that the audience didn't know. There wasn't any clues in the previous two films. Like, it just feels like, a bunch of, what do they call it, Texas sharpshooters with the story beats.
Yeah. I mean, I'll take it a step further and say that it wasn't narratively satisfying either.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because if it came out of nowhere, but it led to a good storytelling conclusion, then I would have been a lot more forgiving.
Yeah. I mean, I read that, what was it, the Shadow of the Sith book, and I feel like that would have made a better second movie of that trilogy, because that book was specifically written to fill all the plot lines between the movies. But it really, and as much as that book frustrated the hell out of me, and I haven't picked up another Star Wars book since that one, I do feel like, to call something a trilogy, there's got to be some through line, or a saga. There's got to be a through line between these things, and not just like flying by the seat of your pants at some point. Just like the tone and the consistency was just not there, which, you know, you can fill in later as they're trying to do, but like that doesn't make. And I guess I could maybe go back and rewatch with a bit more appreciation now, but you know, I haven't done that yet to tell you whether it's actually true experience for me or not.
It's rough. I mean, it's hard because The Last Jedi does feel like so wildly different from the other two.
It does.
Just the whole approach to the universe is God. I don't want to go further down that. It's just different. It's different.
The thing is, though, whenever someone's like, "Oh, that's a bad movie," like, I think it's incredibly relative. Earlier this week, I watched a movie called Sasquatch versus DB Cooper, and that was ridiculous.
DB Cooper?
Yeah.
Why him? Was it like he jumped out of the plane and he fought Sasquatch?
You nailed it.
Incredible. I love it.
That was a horrible movie. Like that. I think that hurt me to watch, but I watched it. And so when people were like, "That's a bad movie," it's like, it's better than DB Cooper versus I'm sorry, it was Bigfoot versus DB Cooper, not the Sasquatch.
Oh, okay.
Important distinction.
Yeah.
We will be putting the cover art of Bigfoot versus DB Cooper. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, it's true though. I mean, like, it is always relative what's good or bad. I do find like more value in art though that like leads to greater personal understanding in people though, and that's why I guess I tend to prefer like more challenging movies and not ones that are acting as comfort food, which is very much what The Force Awakens was.
And arguably the Rise of Skywalker as well.
Arguably, yeah.
Real quick, Bigfoot versus DB Cooper has 1.3 stars out of 10.
Oh, incredible!
Hold on, what is the Room rated at?
The Room.
Yeah, Tommy Wiseau's The Room.
Yeah, I heard that was bad.
Although that's got a cult following, so that's probably got its stars are probably boosted.
Yeah, The Room has 3.6 out of 10 on IMDb.
Whoa! Okay.
Yeah.
There's a was it with, I want to say, Joseph Gordon-Levitt as Tommy Wiseau?
James Franco.
James Franco's Tommy.
Yeah, the disaster artist.
The disaster. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a pretty fun movie.
That was a really good movie. I quite like that.
Oh, that movie looks sick.
Oh, hell yeah.
I like how they named people in the movie as if we knew who they were.
Oh, you know Eric Roberts.
Do I?
He was in The Dark Knight.
Was it?
I think he was a lawyer or something.
Oh my god. Yeah, I recognize
He was also in
this
A
guy.
Talking Cat.
No, he was one of the gangsters.
Oh, was he? Okay.
He was the one that Batman threw off that thing and broke his legs.
Oh, that's right. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Who is DB Cooper?
Next time for the Kyle Files.
The quick summary: it's a dude who hijacked a plane to steal money, and then he jumped off the plane and was never found.
Because of Bigfoot.
Right, because he fought Bigfoot in the woods with other shirtless boys.
And somehow he got a rifle.
Oh, you know what would be where? He doesn't have a death date. It's just disappeared.
Right.
1971.
Yeah.
Please tell me this
what
was
happened to him.
the original Florida man.
Bigfoot knows what happened.
This is honestly one of the greatest movie premises I've ever come across. I'm really excited to watch this.
Yeah, it's just a heads up. It's free on YouTube.
Oh, hell yeah.
What I thought was strange in this chapter, if you want to get back to the book,
Oh, yes.
Are we done talking about?
Yes.
Oh, are we
let's
a
do
Star Wars podcast?
We are a Kirby podcast, an Avatar podcast, and I'm trying to think of one other thing
Bigfoot,
wrapped in a
DD Cooper.
trench coat.
it. At some point, we'll just have to change our title to the Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah, this is a book of Boba Fett.
Yeah.
This is Boba Fett, I guess.
Yeah.
That Thrawn walks in with Khabarakh. No, he doesn't walk in with Khabarakh. He walks in with Rook.
Yeah.
And they don't smell that a Wookiee has been in the Duka,
Right?
Right.
which I thought was kind of weird.
Yeah.
Particularly if they've been wrestling with Khabarakh, then I would have expected there to be like Wookiee scent everywhere, because like when you're finished at the dojo, that smells like people have been there.
Maybe it already smells pretty dank in there.
Maybe Noghri smelled pretty bad, so it just covers up the smell.
I think it was more the fact that like when Chewbacca was on the ship, he had that meltdown, so he was like losing his fucking mind for a little bit. But that being said, I'm surprised that it wasn't noticed that, like, it says that Chewbacca picks up C-3PO, jumps to the ceiling, digs his claws into it, and like throws him to a thing. And it's like, okay, I'm surprised, like,
Thrawn should have known that those were Wookiee claw marks.
Yeah.
No, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about in the previous chapter, that when Leia shows up, like they're doing like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu or something.
Oh, right.
To teach the Noghri Jiu-Jitsu to Wookiee.
Yeah.
Noghri Jiu-Jitsu.
NJJ.
Oh my God. I forget, has Rook been shown to have a good sense of smell? Is that one of the things he operates with?
I thought we noticed that in the Rebels, in the TV show, didn't we?
Well,
I can't remember if that was in this book, though.
think it's a
as
general-
far as this book goes, yeah.
a general
If we had-
Noghri trait, because
Yeah.
they're supposed to look like hunting animals, and
Advanced olfactory abilities. That's what Wikipedia says. This is the Legends article of Noghri. So yeah, he should have smelled Chewie.
Yeah.
He has advanced olfactory abilities. Where
he's
were
been
they?
punched in the snout a few too many times,
Yeah.
Right.
because he is practicing his stalking abilities on Paleon. So
Maybe he was thinking about his next scheme to follow him.
he's just up in his head a little bit too much.
Yeah. But I mean, aside from that, I did like the tension when Thrawn came in, and how the way he spoke to the Maitrak was written.
Yeah. That did feel very, scary situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Leia's first time seeing Thrawn as well.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah. And she knew instantly once she saw him that like this isn't just some self-granted promotion. This is the real deal.
Yeah.
Which apparently Thrawn has really nice posture.
Yeah. I believe it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He has to carry himself very well.
I mean, even in the very first chapter of the first book, Paleon is described as turning around with the full weight of 50 years experience in the Imperial military. So I imagine they both have quite the rod up their spine.
Mm-hmm.
That at the end of the last chapter that they appeared in, Thrawn was like, and they should pray that I don't change my mind.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that he did, he's like, I know we've talked about the differences between canon and this one, but like he is certainly a much more aggressive character in this book.
It's interesting.
I'm not sure which one I prefer.
That's a good thing, honestly. That means you got two great versions.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
That's how Tim and I feel about the Resident Evil 4 video game. They're both great.
Yeah. They're wonderful.
Yeah.
It's a blessed title.
Yeah. It's nice to have different like, I know it's the same author as well, but like different interpretations on the similar characters and just seeing what they bring to the different characters. Like, we've talked about Leia being slightly different, Luke being slightly different, and Han is about the only one that's been captured that we feel like is movie accurate.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it also feels like a good evolution.
Yeah.
Particularly for Leia.
Yeah, this is an area where I do like seeing her challenged. I just wish she acted a bit more like her old self.
Yeah. She seems like a little bit of a worrywart pushover in the books versus how she was in the original movies.
Yeah, definitely no reason why she'd be worried right now.
Well,
definitely nothing that she's concerned about.
No, but I mean, it just seems like it's very different from her personality in the films.
I think the way I would put it is she's less fiery.
Yeah.
That's the thing that really misses from her character, because I mean, she expresses all the emotions we're harping on her expressing in these books, in those movies. It's just that fire is missing, and that just makes everything else feel a bit more strongly, even though those are already parts of her character from what we've seen before.
That's fair.
It's the absence of that one thing.
I guess I see it more of a maturing, though. Like, yeah, when she was a rebel leader, a young rebel leader, it's different than when she's now a soon-to-be mom, and like things are supposed to be in the aftermath.
That's true.
I don't think she cared whether she lived or died in the rebel war.
Yeah, she's fighting for a cause, not herself at the end of the day. And she's a teenager too. Just like Luke, they were 19 in the first movie, 21, 22 in the second movie, 23 in the third movie, and now they're late 20s.
Right.
I'm not the same person I was when I was in my early 20s.
No, definitely not.
Yeah,
it's a really good point.
Yeah, I mean, it's different, but I mean, I don't hate her. I think she's just a different character, and people change.
Mm-hmm.
Her back hurts because she has twins.
Right.
Whether you think that you're the same person day to day, month to month.
Mm-hmm.
Something I've really liked about all these chapters on Honoghr is that I keep wondering at the end of each one how they're going to get out of it, and it does feel like the stakes rise more each time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like it's looking more and more slim that they'll escape.
Right.
Yeah. You think there's going to be some Deus Ex Machina, or they're going to slip onto the Imperial shuttle, or are they going to come out blasting?
I think. I know where we have Luke heading towards Jomark right now. I know. I think they're gonna get captured. I think that's what's gonna happen. They're gonna be on the ship, and then Jerurus is going to lead Luke into some sort of, because as much as he cares about the Empire, he cares about Jedi way more, and he will 100% start ripping through a ship to try to get Leia off of it. I think it's going to be a brief, like, hero kind of moment. I don't think he's going to end up being good. I think Jerurus is going to, like, everyone's going to realize he's a piece of shit. But I think I think there is going to be brief moments of, like, oh, he did it to help us. It's like, oh, no, he did it because he wants Leia's kids.
He wasn't the piece of shit we wanted, but he was the one we needed right now.
I just had this really terrible image of him ripping through the ship, and then Leia's just there and just like, oh, you saved me. It's like, no, not you. And then just rips the twins out of her stomach.
I can see it happening.
I didn't know this was rated hard.
God, that would be insane.
As much as I think while he's very excited about the twins, I think he's still excited that Leia is also a Jedi. I think he just wants any Jedi, anyone who has a little bit of Force. He's like, oh,
the power.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? One thing is that I kind of get from, well, confused about their escape is going to be, like, at the moment, Thrawn's only desire in this book, like in the last book, he had plans within plans, but in this book, he is single-mindedly, we need to get Leia so that Sabaoth is pacified in that way, so that we can keep getting his thing. But like, we don't have any like alternative plans for Thrawn, and that's why he's staying over Honoghr. And I kind of feel like that's maybe the one part that plus we have some smugglers that we haven't seen for forever.
Feels like forever.
But like, that's the one part of this book that's not, it feels a little bit lacking. And like, what else is Thrawn doing at the moment? Like, yes, he's sending people back to Wayland, but like, we're not getting that constant, okay, well, he's got this raid planned for this raid, and it's going to fall into this one, and it's folding plans within plans. We don't really have that for him this time around.
At this point, I kind of just assume it happens in the background.
Yeah. It's just a routine beleaguering of the Republic.
I really do think this book is going to be way more about Jurus than Thrawn. I know this is the Thrawn trilogy. I think the first book was a lot of setup for Thrawn and an introduction of Jurus, so that this book can be like, all right, here's what Jurus is going to be, and this is what I can't decide if I think Jurus is going to die in this book or the next one. I know he's going to die. There's no way he's...
Yeah.
Everybody's going to die, Kyle.
That's true. You're right.
Yeah, I don't predict him surviving either.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like he's going to be like, he's going to somehow cause his own death with his like hubris or carelessness or something. His own, like, his insanity or something.
Yeah. But I guess that's a story for another time.
Next time on The Lost Holocron.
Play us out, boys.
Any last thoughts on the chapter?
Yeah, I wanted to say that the one thing that I really liked about seeing Leia do her Force abilities, like in this chapter, that she thus far has been very nascent in her capacities, and like trying to pull the jewelry or pull the weapons out of people's hands, or it's been very rough. But in this one, it's not an external ability of like this telekinetic stuff, but it's the internal refining of the senses that she seems pretty good at. So I feel like that is very in line with who Leia is. Like, yes, she's fiery and whatever from the original trilogy, and like, oh, I'm just gonna pull all their blasters, or throw
but
stuff
she's also
around.
Perceptive.
But like that's what she is brash about, but not necessarily good with. But her, as you said, she's perceptive. She enhances those senses, and she can see through the tiny holes in the wall, or really hear the conversation and like perceive what's going on here in the other room.
She noticed the grating on the Death Star cell block for them to jump into.
Yeah.
Yeah. She spots opportunities and she takes them.
Yeah. That's very in line with who Leia is, and I like that she has something that she's good at and something that she's not good at. I think that was very well deserved, I guess.
Yeah. Cool. This has been The Lost Holocron. You can find transcripts, links to discussions, and more at our website, lostholocron.com. While you're there, you can learn how you can support the creation of future episodes. Read on, and we will be waiting for you in the next transmission. We would be honored if you would join us.